What's worse than getting rejected by your crush? Perhaps never finding love again. But sometimes rejection isn't the end, it's the beginning of a new love story. So here are the top 10 romance anime where a rejected boy finds love. Number 10, The 100 Girlfriends.
このようにくっついちゃうのだ。
なんだこのちっこくて可愛い生き物。
Falling in love 100 times only to be rejected sounds like a total nightmare, but for one unlucky guy, it's just the beginning of the most chaotic love story ever. Yes, we're talking about Rentaro Aoji, who in his lifetime fell in love with 100 girls and confessed to all of them, only to get rejected. However, while praying desperately to a shrine, Rentaro gets approached by the god of love and drops a bombshell that Rentaro has not one, but 100 soulmates, thanks to some divine oopsie on God's part.
なんだけど、なぜか恋愛対象としてはヘドが出るようなの。ごめんなさい。
確かな手応えからのヘド。
The 100 Girlfriends anime is fun and romantic, with extremely lovable characters and a fun storyline featuring love and friendship. The animation is stunning, and the characters are designed really well. On top of that, each girlfriend has her own quirk, which makes the anime bright, lively, and full of charms. Bro got rejected and then came back in the best way possible. Number 9, Scum's Wish.
私たちは付き合っている。でも、お兄ちゃん。
Ever wondered what happens when your love life turns into a full-blown romantic comedy disaster? Well, meet Hanabi Yasuroka, a high school girl madly in love with her childhood friend turned homeroom teacher, Narumi Kanai. But here's the real twist. Her teacher doesn't reciprocate her feelings. Hanabi's dramatic realization hits her that she's been living like an NPC in her own life. However, her life changes as she meets Mugi Awaye, a fellow student who's also been rejected. He makes a pact of loneliness with Akane over their mutual heartbreaks, and with time, their pretentious pact gets way more complicated than planned.
油断した。まさかあんなポットでの冴えない芋っぽい戸島女に。
Scum's Wish is not for the weak of heart. It's a deep and intense anime that focuses on tough topics like unrequited love, desire, and infatuation. It also explores more complicated emotions, and while the story is mostly serious, there are still a few moments of humor for you. This anime is a light watch with a raw look at relationships, which is just so rare these days. Number 8, The Dreaming Boy is a Realist.
夏川一体どうし可愛い。
可愛くない？
さっき芦田たちと帰ったんじゃなかったのか。
え、なんで？
たまたま見えたんだよ。忘れ物か？
そんなとこ。
You know how some girls are drawn to the mysterious, aloof bad boys? Well, good for Wataru Sajo, who got a little help from fate. Wataru had always been kind, shy, and extremely in love with a beautiful classmate, Aika Natsukawa. But no matter how many times he'd confessed, she'd reject him. Then one day, Wataru had a sudden change of heart and started distancing himself from her. This was the moment Aika regretted her whole life and started paying more attention to him, trying to figure out what was going on.
大丈夫なの？
ああ。
しつこく付きまとうからそうなるのよ。もう近づかないでよね。
This anime has a funny and awkward comedy, as both characters struggle with communicating their true feelings. Things get messier with each episode, and you can't help but laugh. You'll also relate with the characters, since everyone has experienced the awkwardness of unspoken feelings or misunderstood signals. But overall, it's a great pick for this list, and that's an honest opinion since I've watched it. Number 7, Senpai is an Otokonoko.
誠先輩とお箸。なんかいいですね。
褒められてるのかな。変態だ。
Imagine falling in love with someone who you think is the woman of your dreams, only to find out there's secretly a guy who just loves cross-dressing. Awkward, right? That's exactly the story of Sakeoi, a girl who falls in love with a young man in Makoto, thinking he's a her. However, after confessing her feelings to him, she finds out the truth and gets rejected. Yikes. Now Saki falls quite hard for Makoto and still wants to be with him, hoping to be his first love. But he's uncomfortable and cares what people would think.
まさか先輩が男の子最高じゃないですか
Senpai is an Otoko Kono is one of the best romance anime where a rejected boy finds love. This is a comforting and emotional story about students finding love, friendships, and their own identity. Each character is written in depth, facing their own struggles. Their deep friendship and support for each other make this anime stand out from the rest. Number 6, Murai in Love.
あなたの告白を舐めた風に扱ってすみませんでした。あなたの気持ちは嬉しいけれど、今はそれに応えられない。冷静に考えて私たちは生徒で教師で、私が好きなのは人とせくんだから。
We all dream of becoming someone our crush admires, right? Well, Murai isn't any different. After he gets rejected by his teacher Tanaka, he doesn't just move on like normal people. Instead, he completely transforms himself by copying the style of a character from Tanaka's favorite Otame game. Murai tries to become the perfect guy from her dreams, hoping that he can win her heart.
彼女のやめろが聞こえたのでやめていただきます。
Murai in Love is probably one of the most colorful anime, and I just love how it's extremely fun to watch. The dialogue is catchy and the jokes are well done with a good grasp of romance. Overall, it's a really fun and hilarious anime, especially for those who love watching quirky over-the-top transformations and lots of awkward situations. Murai in Love will give you hope to not give up on your crush, but become someone they'd fawn over. Keep that in mind, weebs. Number 5, The Day I Became a God.
まあ何日いるか知らないけどゆっくりしてくといいよ。受験勉強ぐらいさせてよ。
その前に世界は終わると言っておろうが。
Imagine getting rejected without even confessing your feelings. Sounds terrible, right? Unfortunately, Yota Narukami finds himself in a classic case of rejection when he got caught blushing by the god Hinasato after his classmate Izanami turned him down without even giving him a chance to confess. Brutal.
なのに付き合ってください。
ごめんなさい。
振られた。
One of the most prominent anime of all time, The Day I Became a God, should be mentioned. The story is quirky. The heart of the show is about the main characters forming an unbreakable bond and helping others. The art style is bright and engaging. The humor and emotional depth of the characters also make it feel so real and not generic at all. And if you enjoy a mix of comedy, romance, and themes of self-discovery, that's where you'll realize it deserves its place on this list. Number 4, Koikaze.
お兄ちゃん。
そうなお兄ちゃんってのもやめるんだ
だったら。
Now we're going all the way back to 2004, where we have a guy that has the most ironic job possible. You see, Saiki is actually a wedding planner, but his own life when it comes to love isn't doing so well. That's when he decides to get back at it, and just as luck would have it, he meets a high school student. She gives him enough motivation, but hey, I just think he has the worst luck in anime because it turns out to be his new sister. Yes, it's incest, but not incest at the same time.
ぎこちないままの自分に苛立っていたこいつは妹でだからこれでいいんだと
You'll love this series if you're into the 2000s art style that doesn't have those unnecessarily huge eyes. This one definitely hits you right where it hurts. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions, and the music just slaps because of how good it perfectly complements the scenes. It was good back in 2004, and it's still good now. Number 3, A Condition Called Love.
同じだ。初めてのことに戸惑ったり、知りたいと思うのは私だけじゃないんだ。
Love could be a tricky thing, especially when you're trying to move on from your worst heartbreak ever. Just ask the girl Hotaru Hinase, who, after seeing her classmate Saki Hanonoi go through this exact messy breakup, ends up unintentionally stepping right into her own romantic drama. She offers an umbrella to the heartbroken guy who asks to date her the very next day, but he gets rejected at first. Little does she know, the awkward rejection doesn't end things, it only adds fuel to the fire.
花の行く？
使。
天使？
あ、ごめん。
A Condition Called Love has a beautiful take on romance and tender relationships between its characters. It has stunning character design and smooth animation, which makes you watching experience literally feel so good. Overall, it's a beautiful story about young love, their vulnerabilities, understanding, and emotional growth. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, you must enjoy it. Number 2, Oresuki.
その疑問の答えを教えてあげるから。私の本当の気持ちと一緒にね。
あ、
いきなり何してんだ。
マジ絶壁ブスの裸とか勘弁だから。
Imagine thinking you're going to have the best day of your life with 2 beautiful girls, only to be hit with a plot twist that's so savage, it's like the universe is playing a prank on you. That's exactly what happens to Joro, the lucky high school guy of Oresuki. He gets invited out by his 2 crushes, Sakura and Oi, fully expecting them to confess their love. But they both confess, just not to him. They drop the bombshells that they're into older guys, leaving poor Joro traumatized.
やっとここまで来れた。
おい。
Orisuke is the type of anime you'd enjoy for a casual watch during a chilly Saturday. It stands out as a rom-com anime because it's not afraid to flip the usual love story tropes on its head. At first, it may seem like a typical harem setup, but then the story takes an unexpected yet hilarious turn, making the anime both fun and refreshing. Number 1, Plastic Memories.
短期運動してなかったので。
短期運動ってそんな昔の車じゃあるまいし。あ、本当に必要なのか。
Imagine being so lucky in love that you turn to androids. This is the story of Tsukasa Mizugaki, a young man who works at the Terminal Service 1 at Sai Corp. His job is all about retrieving the androids, and Giftias, while being partnered up with an android, Isla. He slowly falls in love with Isla, but here's a bittersweet twist. Tsukasa knows that their love will be short-lived because Isla's memories will soon vanish.
あの時何を見てたんだ。
エラー、よく聞き取れませんでした。もう一度言い直してください。
だからあの時何を。
Aside from an interesting storyline with a touch of sadness, Plastic Memories introduces us to the prettiest characters, especially Isla, the ultimate waifu. The story features a deep bond between the characters, and you can't help but feel for them. The emotional moments, sweet relationships, and the mix of happiness and tears make us place Plastic Memories at number 1 in the top 10 romance anime where rejected boy finds love.